Welcome back to the Hot Slice brought to you by Pizza Today magazine. I am creative director Josh Cowan. Along with me, executive editor of Pizza Today, Denise Greer. Hello,
Hello,
Denise.
hello, Josh. Good afternoon. It's so good to have you on the podcast.
Yeah,
And I say that a lot because I don't get to have you on the podcast as much anymore.
I know it's always a great break in my workday when I get to come on here and and talk to some pizzeria operators and owners and get to catch up with you. So yeah, it's a great break in my day from whatever I'm
Absolutely.
designing or whatever we're creating it going on. But yeah, glad to be here. And today's show is pretty awesome. It's some pretty inspirational guys going there, so I'm looking forward to it.
Everyone knows we actually do the interviews and then we do these intros after the fact, and I'm still blown away by who we have on the show today. Like they're so smart. They just know what they're doing with their business, and that is Thomas McNaughton and Ryan Pollnow and they are from Flour and Water. They're in San Francisco, and my have they grown. They're doing some interesting things in San Francisco.
And I just love how their business model has grown and how tight and put together everything is, from all
Yeah.
their concepts and how very authentic and very them. It's very
Yeah.
authentic to them. Have their style of pizza, their pasta. It's uh it's it's really inspiring and yeah, if get a chance, go over to their Instagram and take a look at what all they got going on.
Yeah, I'll put the Instagram. I'll put a little bit of information about them in the show notes. So definitely take a look at that. But yeah, they're so great. And the dough room. Can we talk about dough rooms for 1 second? Because I've been wanting to do a story on dough rooms for a while. I said that during the episode because uh, we are seeing more people doing dough rooms as people grow. They want that commissary element, but without having to have a huge commissary facility. And doing a dough room, it's just a way to control exactly what's happening with your dough, and I love it.
It's also just great for the customers to see, you know, what you got going on, to pull back the curtain a little bit and see the beginning processes of the whole process. So it's kind of great.
Yeah, I love it. So you'll definitely have to take a look at that on their Instagram because it's pretty fun. Well, let's just jump right in because it's a pretty long conversation. But you'll definitely get some insights and you'll probably get a little bit of ideas on what to do with your pizzeria if you're having some questions about how to grow.
Yep, absolutely. All right, let's get into it, Denise.
Performance Food Service is proud to deliver high quality products, innovative technology, and custom operational solutions to restaurants of all sizes across the country. The flagship division of Performance Food Group, with deep roots in the restaurant industry, Performance Food Service has been the exclusive distributor of the Roma family of brands for more than 65 years. This signature relationship has allowed Performance Food Service to become a leader in the pizza and Italian segment of food service nationwide.
Computer. All right, Thomas, Ryan, welcome to the Hot Slice.
Hey, happy to be here.
Guys.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Absolutely. So your pizzeria has been on Flour and Water has been on our radar for a very, very long time. You've got the national scene covered. Like you're definitely out there. But you've taken it to a whole new level. Can you talk a little bit about what's happening with the business right now?
Yeah, so Flour and Water, our original restaurant opened, and it's turning 15 years old
Wow.
this year, which
Congrats.
is pure insanity. And the heart of that menu is really our pasta program. We do a pasta tasting menu, and it's a little bit elevated. We'd like to say like elevated, but still in kind of a rock and roll atmosphere. Um, and so now 4 years ago, we opened Flour and Water Pizzeria.
Mhm.
And it was original location was a tiny space not too far from the original, and most recently this summer, coming up on a year ago, we moved locations to build kind of a new model, and we took over an iconic space in North Beach that used to house Rose Pistola.
Oh,
And
wow.
What we did was we built it in kind of three sections. The center of it is this really cool glassed-in dough room where we do all of our production. The front of it's Fire and Water Pizzeria that has about 75 seats, full menu, full liquor program. And the back entrance is Fire and Water Pizza Shop, and that houses all of our to-go operations. And the idea is that going to be kind of a hub and spoke model. That glassed-in dough room is a production hub for satellite locations of small little shops, mainly around delivery radiuses. And so hopefully pretty soon here, we'll see a couple of more in the Bay Area, but that being our flagship location in North Beach in San Francisco. So
I will say that the dough room is beautiful.
Yeah,
oh, cool.
it's
Nice.
gorgeous.
Yeah, if you have a chance, get to their Instagram and check that dough room out. It's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, no, we're super happy with it. And the Fire and Water started as a Neapolitan, our original location as a wood burning oven, and we do kind of Neapolitan wood fired pizzas. The pizzeria is radically different. And so we really created that dough room, with the amount of like proofer retarders and really around creating a dough that we really believed in for the pizzeria, and also really believed in for the to-go program.
And your pizzas still look like they're in a wood fire oven. I mean, when I saw the deck oven, I was like, whoa, what?
Well, we do, yeah. So the new pizzeria, it's a 6-minute bake. We go in Pizza Masters, and so that's a long bake, and it's a crazy high hydration in our dough. But we want to slow that bake down. We want it to bring it to like 6 minutes, but we still want somewhat of a char. And it may not look like leopard print Neapolitan char, and we don't want to be trendy burnt, and there's like a fine line between those two things. But yeah, no, so we do want a little bit of char to it.
What went into the menu, like as you changed to go to this flagship model? How did the menu change at all? What kind of happened with the menu?
We're just smoking doobies and thinking what kind of pizza we wanna.
Well, you're in California.
And for the pizzeria concept, Tom and I really wanted to explore the pizzerias that we grew up with, and a way to put what Tom just said is craveability, and we were both lovers of Neapolitan pizza. I still, when I'm at Fire and Water, the original location, love to enjoy a couple of slices, but we wanted something that felt a little bit more of that nostalgia of pizza that we grew up with, both him on the East Coast and me here in California, but also something that travels really well. And delivery pizza is the #1 most delivered food, and it travels arguably the best out of any cuisine if it's done right. And so we had to engineer a dough formula that is delicious in-house right out of the oven, but also 20, 25, 30 minutes later is still enjoyable in someone's home. And so we put our dough through dozens and dozens of tests, and would change small things like not just flour type, but flour source. And then we'd have to go back through testing, and the testing process for our North Beach pizzeria centered a lot around how does it taste in 30 minutes in a box in a warm held environment. And that was a big departure from what we're used to in our other restaurants, where we come up with a dish, we test it as a kitchen team, we kind of stand around the stainless steel table and poke it, taste it, analyze. Here we had to do the same, but then also throw that same product in a box, put it in a hot held cabinet, set a timer, and then 30 minutes later say, okay, how does this dough react? How does it hold up? And it was really an eye-opening experience to think of it as that at-home consumer, because that is, a big part of sales for any pizzeria really is the to-go program.
Was the change in dough styles, was it born from the pandemic? Was that something you guys had kind of took on during that because you were doing more home delivery or takeout?
Well, we had a so the pizzeria original location was open prior to the pandemic, and we actually brought on Noel as a dough consultant to really help us like analyze it. And he's from Slow Rise, is his organization, and so we had a product that we were really happy with, and just like the other restaurants, we're constantly analyzing things.
Yeah.
And so when we went to the new location, new dough room, new proof for retarders, we really analyzed everything, and that, it was still the end result was inspired by the original location, but we just wanted to evolve, and I think that that's very, very important. We have what we call the Big Slice program. And that was radically different at the old location because we were really kind of confined by a very tiny space, and so that's completely evolved at this new one. And so now we have a 20% poolish as a pre-ferment. We're doing bulk fermentation, and it's on good days it's around 4 to 5 day dough. We want a really slow fermentation process. And so it's just like any other food we look at. We're like analyzing it. And so we're not done, like we'll constantly evolve it and tweak it. And the menu, I know me and Ryan can tend to ramble, but the question on how like what inspires the menu, it's really this this juxtaposition of having like classic pizzeria. Like we want a pepperoni, we want the best damn pepperoni that we can make, and that can sit next to, say, more inspired pies like our bone marrow pizza. Can we have those two things live next to each other? And with a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles vintage arcade game, like nods to classics, but still, our chefs, our background, we want to analyze, we want to like, dare I say, innovate a little bit. And so those two things can exist on that menu together. Mozzarella sticks, for example, it's a classic mozzarella stick, but holy shit, it's a pain in the ass to make a mozzarella stick from scratch, and we overanalyze it, and then we produce it. So and then also it's very much it's pizzeria in San Francisco, which means we're cooking with 6 to 8 seasons and microclimates here, and farmers, and we want to put like kind of vegetables forward, and we look at the pizza as this like super fatty gut buster. What do we need to surround that with?
Yeah, and those big expectations in San Francisco. I mean, it is
expectations.
It is a pizza city, It's like
it really is evolving into one, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Coming from the outside, because we're based in Louisville, like San Francisco is one of those quintessential pizza cities that we look at. Like it's just one of those where we're like, I want to go to San Francisco and eat every pizza at every pizzeria I can find. So,
which is amazing to say, since California style pizza as a regional category now, I think it's in a defined category. It's so new compared to the rest of regional styles that people think of when they think of pizza. And it's always interesting because people want to put you in a box, no pizza pun intended, they want to put you in a box of what style you are. And I feel like California, and especially the Bay Area, we're kind of in this moment of definition of what not just California, but maybe even Bay Area pizza is.
Absolutely.
But being in the North Beach neighborhood especially is it's extra special because of just how much the population of pizza restaurants and Italian restaurants, and we look out the windows of the pizzeria every day, and painted on the light posts are the Italian flag. And so there's this like heritage, this honoring that we have to remember every single day being in North Beach. it's really fun. It's great to be surrounded by such talent there.
We're also
Yeah.
the dumbasses that moved the pizzeria in across the street from Tony's, which is a really interesting move.
Well,
See,
hey, I mean, you
I
take a
think
look at
it's
New Haven.
great.
You know?
Yeah.
Take a look at New
Yeah,
Haven. Go right down that street.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
the best in the world. So you know.
You become the
One day,
best pizza
hopefully,
district.
yeah. Well, hopefully one day we're like Pat's and Geno's in years and years to come. You know, I think
Yeah.
me and Ryan got a lot of work cut out for us to be either the Pat or the Geno, but we're gonna try.
I look at that, Josh and I went to North Beach to, because we did a pizzeria of the year with Tony's. And so that area, I look at that area and just there are just a sheer number of pizzerias around there. Like the amount of pizza you can get in North Beach is pretty great. I think you kind of talked about it a little bit, how you're going to kind of level up and stay above that and make sure you're getting what you need from the community. What else are you really doing to make sure that you're staying in the forefront of that pizza scene there?
Well, I think step one, what we always try to do is not look at it as how can we stay in the forefront. But you can't, we have a very particular product.
Yeah.
And it's even hard to I hate it when people like I said, some people say, oh, it's Neapolitan. Well, it's not Neapolitan, it's not New York style, it's hard to put what we're doing there in a box. And so I just think it's incredibly important that we believe in something, and we all the ethos that we believe in, from buying food from the right sources to treating employees well to everything, just to believe in it and move forward and to not try to appease everybody.
Yeah.
And there's even people that will look at it, it's like our design, we really believe in the architect that we're working with and paying homage to the building. And we wanted a cleaner, say, more modern aesthetic in a pizzeria. If we're going to open a pizzeria in 2024, what's it going to look like?
Yeah.
And nods to our restaurant group, and so yeah, and really, really believing that and sticking to it, and so far we're lucky that it's paid off and people dig what we're doing.
So
Yeah.
you said you were going to have some smaller slice shops around, and that was going to be kind of your commissary. So what's going to those, and how fast are those coming along?
They are coming along at a snail's pace, and that's because I'm responsible for them. So they're not really slice shops. So they're pizza shops that will still do the big slice. And our big slice is actually a square pizza.
Okay.
And our 13-inch, so we don't do any slices from round pies. And it's meant to be really looking at the delivery radius in the Bay Area, and having, say, depending on what, inspired by design of having a little shop that maybe has 20 seats in it max.
Yeah.
But really around the delivery, and you're basically, if you're eating there, you're eating inside the pizzeria, the kitchen itself. And so yeah, trying to feed people in different delivery radiuses is the inspiration for it. And we kind of believe in this hub and spoke model, and dough is so incredibly difficult to manage, and the more hands that are involved in it, and there's just so many, and it's 4 or 5 day dough process, bad batch will bite you in a couple of days.
Yeah.
And what makes a bad batch can be thousands of different things. We shouldn't say bad. But so we really want to try to control that as much. And, the dough team that's inside that pizzeria, that they're just constantly they're constantly hyper focused on the dough itself.
Yeah,
And
same.
these outlets will act like you would picture a traditional small pizzeria on your corner spot, where you can sit at a counter or one of few tables and have pizza. but it's really modeled after that like takeout style, somewhere that you can go grab a pie for the family or whatever it might be. Where North Beach, the pizzeria side, it's table service and it has a full cocktail program. It's still very, very casual and fun. It's a pizzeria at the end of the day. But these ones are more of what you would imagine, like your typical neighborhood pizza shop.
Oh, I got you. Something I'm curious about with that 4-day 4-day proof is let's talk storage, like because I could think about
God damn, let's talk about storage.
Yeah.
Are you
Where are those dough
room temp?
bins going? Where are those dough bins going?
Let's see
So-
your refrigeration, what's happening there.
So we designed the dough room with not just North Beach in mind, but also locations 2, 3, and 4. And in that dough room, we're using refrigeration for part of our bulk fermentation, but really we're relying on proofer retarders. So there's 5 rivets that can hold 20 stacks of dough in the dough room, and so each one kind of being used for different stages of the dough's life. And so when we go into production as a commissary for ourselves, we'll be relying on on-site proofing, but the first 3 days of our dough production will begin in that dough room. And so everything's temperature and humidity controlled. And even with all of that technology behind us, it still takes a human being and a trained chef to recognize when to adjust. So we have ample space. We have too much space for one location, but talk to us in 2 years and things might get a little hairy.
Yeah. Well, I know you probably have some very jealous listeners, some operators that are like, what? You can control it that well? Because, they're dealing with, blown dough and hot environments and, just not being able to control it as well. So having a dedicated dough room is so cool. I've actually wanted to do an article on that all year. So you're probably going to push me to do another article on dough rooms.
Cool.
Well, if you look at like a traditional pizzeria, and actually most restaurants do this, most styles of restaurants, where the magic is hidden behind a wall. And we learn this with the semi-open kitchen of Flour and Water, where you can peer in after your dinner and see that magic happening in service. And during the pandemic, we had this realization that pasta production, one of the most beautiful things to watch,
Absolutely.
very detail oriented and meticulous, but at the end of the day, just a joy to watch. We were hiding that in the back room of Flour and Water, and we said, let's show this thing off. And so we actually created the Flour and Water pasta shop, where guests that are coming for lunch or sitting at our sister restaurant Penny Roma for dinner can sit and watch that magic happening. And so that informed the creation of this in dining room dough room, where if you're at the pizzeria, yeah, sure, you can see someone stretching the pie, topping the pie, and baking, but you can also see the beginning of the process, which is like to us like so romantic and so like quintessential to what pizza is those first couple of days that are usually behind a wall and closed door.
Absolutely. That sounds so fun. You were talking a little bit earlier about the Flour and Water hospitality group, and I'm always curious about, like, when did you decide it was time to actually have the organization as a hospitality group versus just being under the pizza or being under Flour and Water umbrella? Like, when did you decide to do the group?
It's a story that we try not to bring up the pandemic as much as possible.
Yeah.
And I think we're slowly phasing out of it.
Oh, yeah.
But at the beginning of the pandemic, we had over 200 employees. And all of a sudden we're down to 6 partners, 0 employees. And it was a giant pause that that allowed us for the first time to truly think about growth pillars. And up until that point, we just kind of evolved organically.
Mhm.
And that organic was like, oh, this opportunity here for this space, and we have this town to let's do this. And we really got to put pen to paper in that time, and that we came up with two growth models, or growth pillars, and that was the pizzeria and this hub and spoke model that we really believed in, and entering consumer packaged goods. And so we just released about a year ago 4 SKUs of dried pasta. So our semolina based flour and water pasta. And we're expanding that. And so currently we're in around 300 grocery stores, mainly on the West Coast, but slowly coming to you guys in Louisville, Kentucky,
Yeah.
And so that really kind of evolved our thinking. And 20th Street, which has our restaurants, Flour and Water, Penny Roma, Flour and Water Pasta Shop, that is like kind of like the beating heart and the origin story. And it's more like tortured artists, menu changes every single day. And for the pizzeria and that growth model, it was really born out of that pause.
I just want to go eat in your courtyard. It is beautiful.
Oh, nice. At Penny Roma, yeah, in the pasta shop. Yeah, it's cool. It's super unique too. It like doesn't look like you're in San Francisco there.
Right.
So and for us with
go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was going to just add to that. For us, hospitality, taking care of people, cooking for them, doing so in Flour and Water and Penny Roma's dining room brings us great joy. But at the end of the day, that's 300 guests a night, which isn't nothing, but it's still a small percentage. So that's where the expansion into multiple pizzeria locations and getting into people's homes with the consumer packaged goods products. What brings us joy is participating in someone's meal, and to expand that and have more of an audience. It's just like, it's such a positive for us.
And the core of all those things really is like integrity. And that's why we obsess with the pizzeria is, we're not just like a flash in the pan, hey, we want to put a pasta on the shelf of a grocery store. It's like, how can we make the best possible thing that we can with a massive amount of integrity behind it, and we're proud of it, and bring that forth. And a common denominator through everything is our passion for regenerative agriculture. And so no matter what restaurant that you're eating in, we're giving 1% to regenerative agriculture, and with our box pasta as well. So 1% of sales go to that, and that allowed us to kind of have like a North Star in a cause that we really, really believe in. So yeah, that touches all spaces.
So what would be some just a few examples of some advice of say I was a pizzeria owner, I had one successful shop, but I was thinking about trying a new concept or going to 2 locations. What would be some advice you'd give me?
I think that were we drinking brown liquor while we were talking? War stories. I think that myself and Ryan, when we first met, we had a common language around management styles and education and mentorship, and we're great on the ground floor, and we can orchestrate. I don't like likened it to a battlefield, but like the general with the army, and to orchestrate and small team. Once you expand, it's you're not everywhere, and it's a different style. And I think personally, all the lessons that I have in life are ones from hardship, not successes, right? Yes. And I think I fought for so long a corporate structure. I want each place to feel. I'm sorry, going past the bargain dog here. This is live. Okay. For so long I fought that corporate culture, because each one we want to feel like this mom and pop shop or have its own feeling to it, and really I was getting in the way of proper communication, and so really there's very little similar. about it, you know. And I think what we've learned over the years is that it's less and less about the food. It's about the pizza. That is, at the end of the day, the easiest part, just cooking good food. It's really about the people that are part of the team, and if they believe in what they're doing and they believe in the space, the people around them, then the food will always taste better.
Well said.
Yeah, and with that community, having, you know, trust and delegation is important. And, you know, if you're the type of pizzeria owner that you've got to work there for 2 years before you even get to stretch a pie, you're going to be stretching pies yourself for a really long time. And, you know, for us to train and have that ongoing mentorship to make sure that it's not just requiring our hands to do all the work from the beginning, and really having that trust through training.
Oh man, we could talk all day. I love it. You guys have so much knowledge. I'll end on this one question, and that is, you know, as you've grown, what will flour and water look like in, say, a couple of years? Like what's the company going to look like then?
Yeah, so I mentioned the hub and spoke model is something that we're creating here in the Bay Area, and having an internal commissary that allows for smaller footprint, smaller square footage shop locations is something that we hope to replicate, not just in the Bay Area, but California, or even outside of California. We have a lot of proving to do here in the Bay Area and so it's big aspiration, but we really want to extend that hospitality and cooking for people in a bigger way than what we're doing here in San Francisco.
Were you going to add something to that, Thomas?
I think you nailed it.
I think you did too. That's
Nailed
great.
it.
That's great. Well, we thank you so much for jumping onto the podcast today and kind of sharing a little bit about what you guys do. I can't wait to see how the business grows and where you take it, and just keep us posted.
Well
Yeah,
done.
looking forward to seeing you at Pizza Expo as well.
Yeah, we'll be there. Stop by
Definitely
Pizza
say hi.
today.
All right, thanks a lot, guys.
Awesome.
Thank
Yeah, appreciate
you.
it. See you soon.
Take care.
Bye.
Take